Hi, so today we're going to go over Noida versus Bangalore residential energy meters. So what you see on the left is an energy meter display of Noida. It's a 3 BHK house in Noida, and what you see on the right is an energy meter of a residential again, 3 BHK. So as you can see, the brand that is here is Crystal. I think it's an Indian make. On the right is a well-known Landis plus GOIR. So that's actually an Australian brand. So we'll just go through different parameters being displayed. So again, without further ado, let's do residential energy meters comparison between Noida and Bangalore. Moving on, you can see here on the left, that's the a zoomed out version of your Bangalore energy meter. You can see these are the different parameters that can be toggled. So you have LCD check, serial number, mostly not so much useful information, but then you have kilowatt hour, power factor, and so on and so forth, but most of them is not that useful. But we'll see in on the right you have the Crystal. What I found is that the amount of information that is displayed in the Noida energy meter is quite detailed compared to the ones in Bangalore. I don't know, but I don't know about accuracy. Usually energy meters have accuracy from 5%, 1%, even 0.2%. So it's usually like 1s or 0.2s. 0.2s is the 2% accuracy. It's really useful. It's usually recommended for commercial spaces. I'm assuming these are like 1%. And usually, power factor doesn't matter that much in residential because usually the sanction load is way under 5 kilowatts, so it doesn't really matter. And right, so moving on. So let's first focus on Bangalore. So as you can see here, this I think is the date. This is the date at which I took the picture. That's like 11th September 2020. So yeah, we had the date. This is the and some of the when I toggled didn't make sense. Maybe it's out of the settings are wrong or something like that. But yeah, so you can see here it's like a 3-phase 4-wire energy meter. So that's usually the star connection energy meter. So each of the RYB or UVW phase along with the neutral make up the 4-wire. So each of these phases, like the R and neutral, Y and neutral, and B and neutral is given to different loads. Usually it should be distributed equally. And you can see it's like 240 volts. That's usually in India, that's the rated RMS voltage of your grid. And yeah, it's up to 30 amps and 50 hertz. That's the frequency of your supply. So, and these are the buttons. The model number is E250. You can look it up and you can just toggle the parameters pressing these buttons. And here you can see some fuses. I think big fuses for each I think phase. So here you can see moving on, this is the cumulative power for this particular 3 BHK. At that point I was not even there in the house and nobody is there actually. So and I think it's just the fridge load and some lights on. I think it's just LED lights barely. So you can see 1.26 kilowatt. That's the instantaneous cumulative power among line 1, line 2, line 3. That is RYV. And you can see the power factor is poor, but I don't think where I in a video that I will show the electricity bill of this energy meter, the power factor is misprinted as 0, but you can see the power factor is 0.75, but I don't think it's getting captured in your electricity bill. Here is the reset count. This again, it's not relevant. I don't understand why I should, maybe it's useful for the technician who's coming to take the reading, maybe. And this is the line voltage. This is the phase voltage basically, and that's basically of the B phase or the line 2. And you can see on line 2, that's the amount, the instantaneous current, 0.285 amp. And this is the instantaneous power. So you can see 0.285 into 246 will give you approximately 66 watts or 0.066 kilowatts. And what is this? This is error count, I think, or something like that. It's 01 something. Okay, now moving on to Noida. So here you can see in Noida, this is the mains unit. So in Noida there are two supplies. One is the mains, the utility power. In Noida, what happens is that the society that this flat is a part of buys power from let's say a private company, and then usually sells it. So usually in Noida, the per unit rates are higher compared to Bangalore. More on that when we see the electricity bill between Bangalore residential and Noida residential. So this is the mains apparent power. So you can see kVAh. So here you can see the apparent. So it's clearly being there's a distinction between apparent power and real power. But again, I do not know how much of it is being captured. We'll go over the bill comparison later. And you can see here, this is the real power. As you can see, the apparent power is much higher than the real power. That's way your power factor is defined. You can see 30,666. This is just the meter reading, and it'll keep on increasing. And difference between the 31st meter reading and the first meter reading will give you the total consumption of units. This is, so as I was saying, it's not only the mains, and there are power cuts. In that case, there's a backup, which is like the diesel generator, and the diesel generator per unit is expensive. It's like 15 rupees per unit, and this is a meter, and I think this is the real power. So kWh. So you can see the real power reading. It's again a meter reading, so that again the difference, actual number of units consumed in a month. The unit rate of DG is way higher, right? And you can see here, this is the apparent power. So again, apparent power DG is higher than the real power. The amount of details that get captured is immense here. And you can see this is the actual bill that so this was way in 22nd September. So it's just 8 days away from the end of the month of September. And so I took these pictures on 22nd, and again on 24th, 2 days after that, I took another picture at the same time, and we'll see how much actually we are like this flat is consuming. So yeah, 2 days later, you can see three-phase loads are almost same from the 2 days back and 2 days after. So this is I think the load for RYB phase. The entire load is like 2 kilowatt. This is instantaneous power, almost 9 kilowatt, which is insane. And this is the DG instantaneous power. It's like almost 1 kilowatt. I don't think DG was, so this is again, sometimes it is not relevant. That time the mains were powered on, and you can see the instantaneous power. So yeah, so on the Y phase you can see it's almost 1.95 kilowatt, and we'll see why in a short while. So the current is you can see on the R phase, it's not very heavily loaded. It's like only 90 watts on instantaneous power on the R phase. On the B phase, nothing at all. On the Y phase, voltage is 234. Now you can see, like in Bangalore it's 246, and in Noida it's 234. It varies according to the load. And you can see on the Y phase, the current is 8.9 amps. So 8.9 into 240, it's around 1.95. If I'm not wrong, that was the instantaneous power. And as you can see, the power factor is again 0.7, around 0.7. But again, in the residential, it doesn't usually taken into account. And again, hertz, it's 50 hertz. So again, you can see the amount of detail. So I'm just toggling, so there are just 2 buttons underneath, and you can just toggle. And so again, so two days later, you can see that this DG power is almost same, because hey, the DG did not turn on. So again, so that validates that it doesn't increase randomly. And you can see the actual bill increased almost 200 rupees, I guess. So this was like 2 days after, and this is 2 days before. You can see there's a difference of 24.3 kVA. This is apparent power difference between the real power. So you can see it's almost 26 units difference, 2 days after, 2 days before. So we almost like so 26, almost 260, 200 rupees in 2 days, I guess. So yeah, so that's about it. I hope this video was useful, and see you next time. Yeah.